with National Women's Coach Terry Steiner. Very busy time in wrestling right now. Terry, heading into our World Team Trials in Las Vegas this coming week. It's in April this year. Talk a little bit about the decision to move it up earlier in the season.
Well, what I was trying to do with it is last year we went into a situation where we went into our Continental Olympic qualifier before our team was set. And I think it's a lot different. There's a lot of difference in trying to qualify a weight for the Olympic Games or qualify your weight for the Olympic Games. And really I'm trying to establish that we have our team set before we go into the Continental Championships. In this case it's not a, I guess it is a qualifier for the World Championships, but like the Olympic Games, I mean, you have to be in the top two of it, so it brings a lot more importance to it. But really I'm just trying to set our schedule so we stay on that track, but it doesn't look like moving forward we're going to be able to do that anyways. So really this year I was really trying to find a system and test it out to see if we could get our Continental Championship after our team was set. So an athlete goes into that Continental Championship knowing they're qualifying not only the weight for the U.S., but they're qualifying their own way to the World Championships or the Olympic Games.
And, we've got, first year of a new quad, right? And obviously, as the national coach, you're going to take a close look at the wrestling at our trials to assess the program. What kind of things do you look at the trials? And are you expecting maybe we might have some new team members this year for the Senior Worlds?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and usually, coming after an Olympic cycle, usually there's some people moving on or not quite sure what they're doing. We usually have some injuries that are being taken care of during this year. So it really leaves room for new athletes to jump onto the scene, and our up-and-coming athletes, not that we haven't seen them before, but we maybe haven't seen them at the senior level so much. So I think we will see some younger athletes coming onto the scene and making our world team this year, and which is what you want. You want to get early in the quad, you want as many athletes as possible to get that international experience as we move forward.
And are you looking for anything specific technically or depth-wise as far as the wrestling?
No, not really. I mean, I'm going to be looking where I pretty much know, but where we need help and where we need to continue to work and improve in our technical areas. But it'll be good to see, how we've come through this year and what is coming along and what still needs a lot, more work and more attention. So the trials is always, it's a tough tournament to be at for a national coach because you just sit back and you're not coaching. You're trying to really avoid the athletes because you don't want to be talking to one of them and the other one thinks you're giving them pointers to win or this or that. So really I tell the athletes if it looks like I'm avoiding you, I probably am going into this competition. But really it gives you a chance to really take a look at things from a bird's eye view and look at the whole picture and look at not only how we're doing on the competition mat. What's our process like? What are we doing in our warm-ups? What are we doing in between matches and after competition and things like that? How are we handling ourselves? How are we carrying ourselves as a national team member and part of USA Wrestling? So really that's how I do look at it, and just from a bird's eye point of view, and just step back a notch. And so it's an important tournament, I think, for me just to be at and observe.
So I'd like to talk about some of the big news we had in women's wrestling this week. First, we announced about Erin Vandiver, who's going to be going out to Pennsylvania to run a cadet development elite program along with the Wyoming Seminary wrestling program. And why is that such a big deal for the program? And what's Erin bring to it that's going to make it a success?
Well, first of all, I have to thank our team leader, Jim Bennett, for really bringing this to me. That Wyoming Seminary was looking to start a women's program and looking for a coach, and really once our wheels got turning a little bit, it's something we've tried to find for a while, a place to house a program that we can put our best cadets in the same room 365 days a year with a quality coach, a quality training plan, a quality schedule, and that's really what we've been looking for. So this Wyoming Seminary position came available, or it came open, or to my attention that it was going to be opening, and right away I thought, can we use this as a direct feeder into our national team program? And that's really what we've done here. We've talked with Wyoming Seminary, we've partnered with them in helping make this happen. We'll have a freestyle schedule, freestyle training from day one. It will be 100% freestyle. Coach Vandiver, I think she's put in her time. She's ready to be a head coach, and she's been around the national program for 15 years. She was here when I started as an athlete, and I was an athlete through 2008, and then was helping as kind of a grad assistant around the program, and just learning and observing and starting to get into coaching. And then for the last 5-6 years, she's been really a major part of our national staff. So to have her out at Wyoming Seminary working with our best cadets is really, I can't put into words what it means to our program. I think it's one of the missing pieces to our puzzle. And currently we're only with our cadet athletes 40 days out of the year as a national team, and now to be put in a situation where we can bring those athletes together, a good majority of the best ones we have, and put them in an environment where we can train them freestyle and really focus on international wrestling for 365 days a year is a huge step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of work to do, clearly, but again, I think that I'm very comfortable with Erin Vandiver in that realm and taking this program over. So we're very excited about that.
And today we made a big announcement. New assistant national women's coach, Clarissa Chun, one of our greatest athletes on the mat, but now she's taken a new role to help the program move forward. Talk about, Clarissa, what she brings and what she means to this program.
Well, Clarissa has so many good aspects to her, but, the one thing that I really like that people don't look at, they see her right now as a world champion, Olympic medalist, and, a great superstar in our sport. But, what they probably forgot is there was a lot of years in there where she struggled, where she struggled to make the team and just kept working and kept striving, and that takes some character, and that takes some heart to do that. And so, Clarissa brings not only, the success and that kind of knowledge to the girls now, but she also brings the knowledge of what it takes to work through something, and what it takes to just stay along the process and continue to develop your skills and move forward. So Clarissa just she brings so much, a great personality, great skills, unbelievable knowledge, and just a real desire to help and to give back to not only USA Wrestling and the women's program, but give back to the next generation of girls. So we're super excited to have her on our staff, along with Erin and Emma.
So now we also look at a new project you started this past week, the Supergirl Camp Series, focusing on the upper weight classes. What's the reason for this project, and how did this first camp go?
Well, really, the thought of starting a Supergirl camp was real. I see our upper weights right now, and we don't have a lot of depth there. And I didn't want to just wait for it to happen, to athletes to kind of come forward and start to develop on their own. So I wanted to take more control of it, and let's wrap our arms around them. And moving forward, when we move to 10 weight classes, I really see that there's going to be probably 3 weight classes in this upper range. From 68, 67 kilos on up to probably 78 kilos. I don't know what they're going to do yet, but I know that there's going to be probably 3 weight classes in those categories. So I think it's we're probably already behind the 8 ball. I think we needed to step in and really try to push this and bringing our bigger girls together. The thing with that is that there's some different strategies and different techniques and different tactics with girls of these weight classes. So, and that's really what we're trying to do: bring them together. Let's see what we have out there. Let's bring them along technically, but then let's let them push each other, and let them rise each other up. So that's really what we're trying to do with it.
And how'd the girls respond? I mean, from what I heard talking to them, they did a very good job of working together, and really was pleased to be part of this project.
Yeah, no, I think the first camp was some good success to it. I think they enjoyed being around people their weight classes. They enjoyed our arms wrapped around them, 100%, and giving them the attention to, Supergirl needs, and so that's really what we tried to do. So I think it really went well. I expect we have 4 more from now through December, and I really expect this camp concept to grow for us.
So let's move on to the other camp going on. 60 juniors and cadets training here. We're alongside the senior women. I know you've always got developmental camps going on, but this one seemed to be large and also seemed to have a depth of talent that was outstanding. Just your thoughts of how that program is developing with not only the number but the quality of the athletes.
Well, I really, if I look back to 2012, we really put an emphasis on this age group and the cadet and junior age group, and really to spend more time around them as much as we could. So we developed a camp series for these athletes where we're bringing them in 5 times during the school year and then twice during the summer. And at first it was slow, it was small, and I knew it would take time to grow. But I really have to credit Coach Emma Randall for building this program up. I mean, she's done an unbelievable job moving this forward, and bringing these athletes together, and then getting them the technical skill. And then she's also got a great group of people around her with our former athletes, Andrea Yamamoto, Stephanie Murata, Clarissa, Chun. I mean, she's brought those former athletes and some high-level coaches like Ahmad Oni and people like that she's brought back and around, and so it's really developed into something special. And having it at the training center this week, it's not something we always get to do, but having it here this past week was definitely something special to see, because you could see them feeding off the energy of the older athletes. You could see the older athletes feeding off the energy of the younger athletes, and it really was a work of art, really. So
USA Wrestling is part of a coalition of leaders in wrestling trying to get emerging sports status with the NCAA for women's wrestling. I mean, your thoughts on whether this is coming up soon, and then what it'll really mean for the overall program if the NCAA does give women's wrestling that emerging sports status recognition.
Well, we've been growing at the high school level, for 27 continual years. I mean, we've been growing at the college level now that we have 35 college programs. I mean, and that's just going to continue to grow, and it's really time for the NCAA to take a real hard look at it. And I think outside of that, I think it's time for college coaches around the U.S. to take a long, hard look at what could a women's program do to help solidify their program. I mean, we heard the news yesterday of Boise State dropping their wrestling program, and really, I think we could have done some different things there, with try to bring some equality there and adding a women's program. And I think it's something we have to look at moving forward with programs. So I do think that the emerging sports status will happen. I think it's inevitable. We probably have some things that we still have to do to help make that happen. But I just think it's really a matter of time, and that the NCAA sees that we can't be held away much longer. We're a big organization. Our numbers continue to grow, and they're going to continue to grow. And we have an Olympic gold medalist right now that legitimizes it even more. And so, I think it's on its way.
So you're starting the season without one of the big stars of our program for much more than a cycle. Adeline Gray made an announcement that she was going to have some surgery and heal up from her injuries this year and not try out for our team. And obviously she didn't say she retired. She's taken this year off from competing. And just curious, as a national coach, what she's meant to the program and what you think she'll mean when she gets back.
Well, I mean, what Adeline has done for women's wrestling, in this country and really around the world is really special. I mean, she's really brought, I think, a lot of attention and notoriety to the sport, and so Adeline has been and will continue to be a huge part of women's wrestling in the U.S. and around the world. I mean, she had some things that we had to take care of, you know, injury-wise, and it was just the time to do it. There's never a good time to have an injury. There's never a good time to have surgery and take care of things. But if we're going to do it, you know, now's the time to do it. And so, you know, it was just a decision that, you know, we can't go on at 80%, you know, or 70%. We've got to get ourselves healthy 100% and then get back on the competition mat. So I fully suspect that Adeline's going to come back and you know, be a major force. I mean, she's there's still something missing there. I think she's very motivated. You know, I mean, she has world titles, but she doesn't have that Olympic medal, and I think she really wants to make that happen before she steps away from the competition game, and so I expect that we're going to see that.
About 9 months ago, Helen Maroulis beat the greatest women's wrestler of all time and won our first Olympic gold medal. And you know, obviously, in the last month since then, that achievement of hers and Helen herself has made a huge impact. In your mind, what did Helen's gold medal mean to wrestling here in the United States and to women's wrestling overall?
Well, I think it's hard to measure what it meant. I mean, we know it meant a lot. I mean, it moved our sport forward in this country unbelievably, and Helen is such a great spokesperson and a great role model for the next generation of girls that, you know, her legacy will continue to grow and grow. I mean, you know, and really I think she's far from done. You know, she has so much talent and she's worked so hard, and, you know, Coach Valentin Kalika has really spent a lot of time, you know, with her and developing her, and so kudos to them both for what they're doing and how they're really continuing to move forward and staying on track. Helen's a great superstar and just a wonderful human being, and she's going to continue to, again, make a huge difference for our program. We need, you know, the one thing we need is we need heroes and leaders within our sport that are currently wrestling, and you know, that's what Helen and that's what Adeline, and that's what they bring to this sport, and so it's really important, I think, for us to have that and have those people for our young girls to look up to and still be on the same team with them, and you know, athletes can hear from their coaches a lot, and they do, but really when they hear it from a peer, it means so much more, and so that's really, I expect that leadership from both of those people.
So we'll visit again after you have your team, but appreciate all the updates. Again, busy time in wrestling. Before you know it, we'll be getting ready for Paris, right?
Yeah, no, it's a busy time, but really a very, very exciting time for women's wrestling in this country. I think we have some, you know, great things happening and some great steps to move forward in the right direction, how we want to move forward, and so, you know, I'm really happy with the direction we're going right now, but, you know, at the same time, we have a lot of work to do. Just because we have pieces in place doesn't mean it's going to happen. We have to put the time and the energy and the effort in and make the things reality of what we're thinking can happen right now. So now it's just back to the grindstone.
Outstanding. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.